I've been completely obsessed with traditional Japanese tattoos ever since I was a kid. So today let's look at the history of Japanese tattoos, the Yakuza, the meaning of some of those beautiful designs, and also answer a question: do Japanese people hate tattoos? Tebori is the name for traditional Japanese handmade tattoos, and it translates to hand carving or hand poke. And the tools they use are these little bamboo sticks where they attach the needles at the tip and then they just push it by hand in the skin. And if you wonder if that technique is more painful than the one with the machines we have now, I got one done in Tebori about 10 years ago, but we'll get back at the end and I'll tell you my experience with it. So the Edo period in Japan from 1603 to 1868 is considered to be the golden age of irezumi in Japan. Irezumi means inserting ink. Tattoos were decorative back then as well. And contrary to what a lot of people think, regular people used to get tattooed, men and women. For fashion, social signaling, artistic expression, nothing really different of what we're doing now. And most imagery you see now in tattoos are mostly inspired by the woodblock prints made in the Edo period. And this period is when artists had started to heavily tattoo the character in their art piece. This is a woodblock print from the 1800s that I have a chance to own. And woodblock printing was the technique used to make the art on these rice paper. Also, you had another name for tattoos, irezumi ke, which meant tattoo penalty. And it was used to mark criminals. They would be very bold designs, stripes on the arms, thick black bars. And within those lines, people were able to know where that crime was committed and what was the crime that the person had committed. Oh, and also, sometimes they would just put it straight up on your forehead. And unfortunately for those criminals, those tattoos usually came with exile from said area. And in 1745, this tattoo punishment completely replaced amputation. Like getting your ears or your nose cut off because you did something bad. You know what? I'm pretty sure a lot of criminals were quite happy about that. But then those criminals started to cover up their crime tattoos with cool designs like dragons, koi fish. So it became impossible for people to know what crime these criminals had done. And also, since regular folks were getting tattooed as well, it was really simple for them to reintegrate society to some level. But some of them decided to stick together and form clans and become families. And there's many stories about the provenance of Yakuzas. Keeps coming back to mid-Edo period that the Yakuzas have really started, with outlaws and outcasts forming gang called village defenders. And they would protect villagers from outsiders, wandering ronin or samurais that would want to steal, kill, or do bad things to their women. And they would get payment from the communities they were protecting. I guess it was some sort of protection tax. Sounds familiar? The name Yakuza comes from a losing hand in a traditional Japanese card game called Oicho Kabu. And these numbers symbolizes good for nothing or non-conformist. In 1872, the Meiji government of Japan decided to ban tattooing because they wanted to preserve a more civilized image to the West, because they had opened their border to foreigners in 1853. And they felt like it gave a barbaric image to the foreigners coming in. But the West fell in love with the art of Japanese tattooing and designs, as it was imagery never really seen before. So even though tattooing had become illegal in Japan, the underground tattooing scene just kept getting bigger and bigger, with foreigners coming in seeking to get Japanese style tattooing. Even noble people would get them. Prince Alfred, Duke of Edinburgh, Prince Albert Victor, and Prince George, members of the British royal family. So as you can see, it's not only criminals that were getting tattooed. The tattoo ban of Japan was officially lifted in 1948, making it legal to tattoo, but obviously it was still very underground as it was directly connected to the Yakuza. And out of nowhere, in 2001, the Japanese government decided that you needed a doctor license to tattoo, making all tattoo studios illegal. But in 2020, the Supreme Court of Japan overturned this law after a tattooer named Taiki Masuda challenged the government after being fined for tattooing. So does that mean that Japanese people hate tattoos? Hiroshi-san, tell me.
Hi.
Is it true that most Japanese people don't like tattoos?
No, not most of Japanese people don't like tattoo. Older generation, yes. I would say like a much more than younger generation. For example, my mom's age, my grandpa, grandma, they are more like a scared by tattoo. Because tattoo used to be in Japan only like Yakuza people had it. But younger generation now is changing a lot. And it's really, really different than back in the days. Also like, you know, the people who has tattoos, they cannot use public pools, gym. Tokyo, Osaka, like a big city, I think the regulation is changing a lot. Even, you know, the people who has tattoo, they can use those, you know, the places too. My city, which is Ise, very like a small countryside, you know. And when I went to onsen, you know, at the entrance, it says like...
You still had the sign, no tattoo?
Like very strict. So a lot more people getting tattoo too in Japan.
Yeah, it's more popular now,
yeah, more
right?
popular now. And then more like people sees tattoo as like art.
And do you have any tattoos?
No, I'm always interested in having, actually.
Why haven't you gotten one yet? Is it because you think your family would...
Honestly, I don't say it's not zero.
You still have that sense of how they would look at you if you would get a tattoo.
For example, my mom gonna be really sad for sure. Yeah.
Sadness is implied.
It's not like mad or something.
Yeah,
just
yeah,
like she's
sadness.
gonna be really sad.
How do you think the Japanese people see foreigners like me with Japanese style tattooing?
I don't know what everybody thinks, but I believe most of people think it's nice. It's really like they are proud of like their tattoo culture. Kind of nice to see like someone who likes, you know, Japanese culture.
Have you ever met a Yakuza?
When I was a kid, I met them. I was already wondering why they didn't have the pinky finger, but now I know. So they were Yakuza.
So they were nice people.
They were really nice people. Yeah.
Oh, they wanted you in the gang.
Yeah.
The ritual of finger cutting that my friend was talking about is called Yubitsume. And if you wonder why Yakuza members would have bits and parts of finger missing, that's because they did something wrong and cutting your own finger was part of the I apologize and I have remorse ritual. Imagine cutting your own finger.
So tattoos are still a little bit taboo in Japan, but not nearly as bad as before. Like my friend Hiroshi says, there's some onsen in the country, onsens are hot springs, that you won't be allowed in if you have tattoos. But these are changing slowly. But I mean, it's understandable if you're from the older generation and you've lived through the peak of the Yakuzas in the 1960s, counting 180,000 active members. And they were controlling everything. So it's kind of normal to be a little cold at the sight of tattoos. But tattoos are also celebrated in Japan. You have a yearly festival, I believe it's in May, and it's called the Sanja Matsuri Festival in Tokyo. And also they have a bunch of tattoo conventions throughout the years that attracts people from all over the world. There's even a collection of preserved tattooed skin in Japan. It's associated with the Medical Pathology Museum of Tokyo University. However, this collection is not open to the public. They use it mostly for research. Okay, now let's talk about some of the meanings behind the most popular Japanese traditional tattoo designs. The first one that comes to mind is the koi fish. It's an absolute classic and I love doing them. And a koi fish swimming upstream means courage, perseverance in the face of adversity, overcoming an obstacle. The second most popular one is the tiger. In Japanese is tora. Courage, longevity, protection against evil spirit. Another really popular one, the dragon. In Japanese is ryu or tatsu. Dragons means wisdom, strength, protection, good fortune. Another one that is very popular is the Hanya mask. And it represents a woman that turned into a demon because of intense jealousy. It symbolizes the complexity of humans' emotion. And strangely also, they act as a protective talisman against evil spirit. Cherry blossom is a very popular one as well, and it symbolizes that life is short and beautiful. And why do I think that people love traditional Japanese tattoos so much? First off, it's the history. It's so rich. It's great. They just have beautiful stories, beautiful tales, the timelessness, the elegance. You know, one might not like tattoos, but you can't deny the artistry behind it. Now to answer the question, does tebori tattoos hurt more than machine-made ones? In my experience, the tebori tattoo doesn't hurt nearly half as much as the machine made at the beginning. Because you have to think that what would take an hour and a half by machine will take 3 hours by hand. And you know, after 3 hours of getting stabbed repeatedly, it starts to get a little bit annoying. But for me, what was the worst is the sound. That's the sound of your skin breaking. It's really disgusting. That really got me. Like, I didn't get nauseous or anything, but I really had to, you know, talk to myself. I just think that tattoos are just amazing, and traditional Japanese especially, for me, it just takes it all. It's the best style of tattoos. Although I like every style of I just like looking at a good tattoo, whatever style it is. And I have to say that I feel pretty privileged to be part of that culture and was able to make a career out of it in the past 30 years. Please share in the comments your tattoo stories. Tell me what style of tattoos do you prefer? What do you think of Japanese style? Even if you don't have tattoos, you're most welcome in a conversation. You don't need to have tattoos to like tattoos and to like the tattoo art form. The next video I'm gonna make about tattoos, I'm gonna answer this big question. Are tattoos bad for your health? That should be a good one. Thank you for watching. I appreciate your time and I'll speak to you soon.